What is going on, guys? We are back on the Beastlord, and we are back raiding. You can see here, we are at Tunare on this particular raid. I figure I'll do a couple of these as I'm just now jumping into raiding. I'm getting into the rotation that the guild has. So I figure I'll go through and, you know, show all the raid targets we hit one time in like a shorter form. And then if I do start streaming, like if/when I start streaming during raids, you know, those are going to be like 3-hour plus streams, and that's not for everybody. So I figure I'll show our raid targets in this shorter, more condensed, should be less than an hour, you know, video. This one should be shorter than the last one where I was blabbing, because I'm not gonna sit here and blab to blab. There's no real topics other than you know, the targets that we have at hand here. So you know, it's EverQuest, so rating's not too entertaining or anything like that. We don't have a bunch of mechanics to jump around and all that. Some jousting here or there probably, but for the most part, and nowadays, especially at this point, and maybe tonight's kind of like, or well, in this raid, kind of like lower end targets. So there's nothing crazy or dangerous or anything. And we're coming at it with some numbers too. I think we like had the most people show up in like a long time to the raid. I started raiding again, and a few other people just coincidentally started raiding again. It was kind of funny. It wasn't this raid, but it was the one before this. I saw an old friend, and he's like, "Hey, I haven't been on for a long time. What's going on?" And I was like, "Hey, man, not much." And he's like, "Cool. This is my first raid back, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Oh, shit." I was like, "Dude, it just happens to be my first raid back." And we both stopped raiding about it like about a year ago. So it was just a coincidence that we both came back on the exact same raid after about a year. Really crazy. But you know, I think they've invited some new people and all of that. So we're at a, you know, we're at a high right now with players, but you know, it ebbs and flows. We'll have a bit of an ebb here, and then it's gonna get nice and flowing when Luckland comes out in January probably. But you see here, Tunare is about to go down, and then we'll just check out the loot that she drops, you know. So we'll go over each of the targets. I'm not going to show all the in-betweens, obviously. There's 3 hours of footage here, but I'm just going to jump cut to like the next boss, because in this particular night, we hit and we clean up like a bunch of like older targets, not necessarily current or big targets. So let's get out the loot here. So we got the loot. We are on the Beastlord. Obviously not the Necro. So we did get the Bestial tunic to drop. That's the Beastlord tunic, as you see in front of you. So which is pretty nice. I did not bid on it. There was a couple of other Beastlords who looked like they wanted it. It got bid up like a tiny bit. It really was. It stayed cheap. It stayed really cheap. But I like my chest piece, and I'm not using anything crazy. The reason I did want to get this was just for the bramble coat. As you can see, it's only a 3 damage shield, but I mean, that's pretty cool. And it stacks with other damage shields. I'm pretty sure it's it's a different buff slot. If there was some sort of, you know, trickery you wanted to do with that, but it does give 15 AC. I mean, it's a pretty cool buff. How long does it last? An hour and 27 minutes. That's really cool. That's the best part, is that you don't have to cast it all the time. But really, that's the only reason I wanted it, was for the bramble coat. Right now, I don't use anything crazy. I'm just using a... let's go back there. I'm just using a... I can't think of the name right now. Face Spider Carapace. And, you know, it has like 28 AC. Similar stats, some a little bit higher SVs, but it does have like a negative SV or two. But I really do like the AC. You almost get the same amount of AC without, you know, with the buff. So I guess I should have thought of that. That kind of like evens out. Maybe I should have gone for it. But the hit points and the mana is like really where it shines. It's a good chunk of hit points and mana. It is a nice piece. It just seemed like there was other people interested in it. And honestly, if I got it, I think I would just put the buff on me and keep it in the bags or something like that. So, you know, other people seemed interested in it. I'm still like new, and you know, this is technically my first week of raiding. This is my first Tunare with the guild since I've been raiding a year ago. You know, obviously Tunare wasn't out a year ago, but what I mean is I'm just getting back into things. I'm not just going to come out and grab my DKP that I had from a year ago and just start, you know, bidding people up and stuff. I'm here to chill. I did get a main hand hammer. I think I showed in a previous video or something, maybe. It's nothing crazy, but it's pretty good. I was mainly here to get the hand-to-hand weapon that she drops, but she didn't drop it. So now if that dropped, then yeah, I would have bid it up and stuff and try to get that one, because that's a big piece for me. A new weapon, obviously, for a fresh 60 is pretty huge. But, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of just laying low and, you know, seeing how things go. Honestly, my plan, I'll just say it up front here. My plan is to mostly accumulate DKP until Lucklin and really only spend it on Lucklin stuff. Now, with that being said, most people in this guild have been raiding this entire time. I've been gone for a year. They've been stockpiling DKP for a year. But as we'll see later, stuff does drop that people do dump some DKP on. So I don't want to be blowing DKP on something in this era, because there's such a power spike from this era over to the Lucklin and Pop era. There's just a huge power spike. So pretty much anything you get now, not really, you know, like Blade of Carnage, like Sleeper's Tomb stuff, or like, you know, Flayed Barbarian Skin Leggings, like that kind of level shit. Scepters of Destruction, with, you know, Sleeper's Tomb stuff. That kind of stuff does transfer over pretty decent and holds good for a while. But you know, some of the stuff like this, it's good now, but it's gonna run its course pretty quickly. And I don't want to buy stuff that I might, you know, you're not going to replace it quickly, because everybody wants everything, always. And moving to the new era, everybody's going to want everything, and they all have more DKP than me. But I just feel my DKP's better spent on items in the Lucklin era. So that's the idea, is to hold on. Try to just, like, you know, what's it? Bargain bin stuff. Like, find the shit that nobody wants, pick something up here, there, dirt cheap. Nobody wants that. I'll put 20 on this, 20 on that, whatever. And save anything that's gonna like take a chunk of my DKP, anything like that, and just wait for the Lucklin stuff to come out. Now, with that being said, January in Lucklin's gonna be nuts. Let's move on to the next target, and then I'll keep talking. All right, we are on Lord Yelinak here, and leave it to me. I already did this part of the video, but I'm like pausing and unpausing my recording software as well as this pre-recorded video. And I forgot to unpause the recording software, I guess, when I got there. So I already recorded this once, so I'm going to fumble over my words here. Anyways, we're killing Lord Yelinak here. And I think at the last section, I was talking about raiding coming up into Lucklin and how things are going to get a bit crazy. So hopefully I don't repeat myself either before or after this part, because this is out of order for me. Anyways, in Lucklin in January, it is going to be crazy, you know, because the drops are going to be fresh. We're going to be doing Lucklin raids, Vexthal, stuff like that. The drops, there's that huge power spike that I've been talking about that, you know, most people are aware of, and people are gonna want that gear really badly. So when that gear drops, people are going to pay top dollar for that. So I feel like the first month or so in Lucklin, things are going to go for inflated prices. People are sitting on a shitload of DKP right now. You know, being in this guild that I'm raiding with, I can see everybody's DKP totals, and there are some people who are sitting on an absolute shit ton of DKP. And so when Vexthal gear starts dropping, they're going to make sure that they get the pieces that they want. And so there's going to be a little bit of a period of time where people are flushing through their DKP and getting rid of a lot of that. So, yep. So, you know, we're going to want to be saving a lot of our DKP throughout now and not, you know, overspending on stuff, so that we'll be able to get a couple of items that we need. But so we downed Yelinak. Hopefully I covered whatever I spoke about on the first kill. Pretty sure I'm leaving stuff out, which is unfortunate, but it's my problem. So let's see what the loot is as soon as I can pop it up on screen here. Any day now. I might be waiting for them to link the loot as well. They'll link it to the chat, and then I'll pop it up on the screen. This is what happens when you have to re-record stuff, is, you know, you don't want to say the same thing twice. I can't remember exactly what I said on this fight, and therefore, you know, I don't want to, like, think I'm repeating something that I said on another raid target, and then you hear the same thing twice. So here you see that I opened up multiple of the Dragon Blood Earring, and one of them closed itself, but you can see that on the Dragon's Blood Earring that's on the bottom right, that one does not say no drop, whereas the top left one does say no drop. So as far as I know, I think the first one that drops is tradable, and then any additional ones that drop are no drop. So we did get 3 total of these. They're pretty good. 7 strength, 7 dex, 10 hit points, 10 AC, a couple of SVs. Not bad earrings. But we got Yelinak's Talisman, which is super fucking good. I mean, 41% haste. And all of those stats and everything. Really good neck piece there. Do I pop out? Let's see if I pop out this shield so you can see it better. But then we have Ael's Aged Stone Shield on the bottom right over there. It's kind of overlapped. There we go. And that one, you know, pretty decent for a shield, but nobody really buys shields. Not too many melee characters wear shields. So this one rotted. Most of the time the shields are gonna rot. As you can see here, we are in Sky Shrine. And it had been, you know, quite some time since I had been in Sky Shrine. I don't know what I'm looking for here. I think I was going to invis myself, but I see people running without invis, so I'm like, screw it, let's just go for it. I haven't been in Sky Shrine in quite some time, and I forget where I was going, so I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to end up training anybody or anything like that. My buddy Orez over here told me to follow him, but I was looking at the loot, and I missed his tell. You can see him in front of me here. So I kind of followed him, I guess. But there was some sort of a train, but it's all green shit anyway, so no big deal. But I have this thing, and it's been happening for a while, where when I click on the... when I zone, while in a raid, I DC from the server sometimes. It happened to me like 3 times this night. Super annoying. Super duper annoying. I never DC from the server, ever. I have some friends who complain about it. I never do. I've downloaded all the things. I've done the right options. When I first started raiding back in the end of Classic or whenever it was, I went through the steps to make sure that I don't DC, or there was some like helpful tips on how to not DC while in a raid. But the problem persists. Like when I'm in a raid, I have like a 30% chance to DC from the server when zoning. And it's super annoying because it kicks you out of the raid. You know, on a night like this where we're doing a ton of different targets and you have to travel and you have to get ports and all these things, it's just super annoying because you're zoning a lot and you're moving a lot and you get left behind and you just become annoying, I guess, you know, if you're constantly DCing and stuff. I don't know how nobody else is DCing. So if you guys have any tips, let me know. I may, and I probably have already done all of the tips because I tried troubleshooting this before. But now that I'm getting back into raiding, maybe something's changed over the last year since I've been raiding. Any tips, I'll take them. let me know. All right, so we are in Kale, and we have Kel'Thuzad coming up here. Just kidding. King Tormax. So we're just gonna push him into the wall and try to get my pet on this side of him to push him into the crease of the wall. That's something that I'm still learning as raiding with a Beastlord is positioning my pet. It's a fucking pain in the ass. I'm not gonna lie. And he's always dying. I think I talked about this in the previous video. I think he's always dying. And the healers are busy. They're busy doing stuff. People are dying. People are dying. Shout out Jurassic Park. But anyways, so, you know, I try to be responsible for my own pet right now. The pet does receive heals, you know, sometimes, but I don't have pet hold, and so that's an issue. So I'm actually starting to work on AA finally. I got to 60 and I raided 3 days in a row, and then I had a couple of days off, and then I'm back into raiding already again, and I got a raid tonight. And so, you know, like I've been struggling finding time outside of work and outside of raiding to get some AA-age in. But I do have a couple of AAs now, so I'm starting to get the ball rolling. But pet hold. You know, I need that's in class, so that's in the third tab. So I got to get some AAs rolling to get to that point. But pet hold is in there, and then, you know, I need MGB and I need beast crack, and those are all things that the guild like require you to get. So I need to get them ASAP so that I'm not like annoying, you know, because like I'm like I could be annoying right now because every time my pet gets hit or something, or if I try to get them, you know, an AoE goes out when they're pulling the boss in, my pet just dashes in, so I gotta like tell them back all the time. If something else, you know, hits, I constantly on pet duty, and it's annoying. Any pet classes know this. It's the same with the Necro, or, you know, with any other classes that have pets, so people are used to it by now. But now here with AAs, you know, you can get to a point to where you can tell the pet, hey, sit in that corner and shut the fuck up until I tell you to do something. And they'll do that. They can get hit with AoEs and they'll just sit in the corner. And that's a new thing now with AAs. So really just need to get that. Beast Crack is really good. It's, you know, on something like an hour cooldown or so, hour 15 minutes or something like that. And it hits the whole raid if you MGB it. So you can do it in the middle of a long fight. And it'll, you know, give everybody a lot of regen. So that's super good. And then, you know, depending on what fight it is, you can have multiple Beastlords pop their MGBs or throughout the raid, because it's MGBs on a hour 15-minute cooldown, something like that. So here we got the raid loot here. So Boots of the Storm, this is a huge one, actually. That's a really nice drop. Boots of the Storm there is a highly sought after item. The Velium encrusted, yep, gauntlets, really nice as well, actually, really nice. So this is, you know, big time drops there for the plate boys. And then, you know, really nice crown there as well. So solid drops overall. And then a key, what is that? The key for Sleeper's Tomb right there, I believe so. Solid drops overall, but we stay here and we kill another target. All right, so now we have Vindy coming in. The other targets in Kale we killed on a different day, like Avatar of War and such. So these are just the only two targets that we're going to do today in this zone. So you got Derakor the Vindicator, aka Vindy. He drops some nice pieces himself, such as Breastplate of Vindication. It's a really nice piece. Once upon a time, I did play a warrior. Got my epics. I played in the Velius era. I don't think I played any past the Velius era on this warrior. So Breastplate of Vindication was a really nice piece at the time, but did not dig the warrior too much. My original, very first max level character back in the day, in original EverQuest when I was in high school, was also a warrior. But I was young, dumb, Had no idea what I was doing. I never got an epic back then. I did do some raids back then, but never got like an epic or anything like that. So let's see what Vindy drops here. Scroto Mozart. Always some good names. As you can see, my pet went down in that fight. That's another thing about the pet that I'm still getting used to is, you know, when they rampage and flurry and all these different things the boss do, you turn attack off as a melee, and I gotta remember that my pet's attacking too, and I need to pull my pet back. So we got pretty dog shit drops on the boss. So you saw that there. Let's go back. I mean, the earring is like whatever. I mean, 10 SV magic's cool and C Invis is cool. 10 AC, 9 strength, and nothing insane. But we didn't get a breastplate or anything, so in my opinion, not that great of drops for what it is. But yeah, let's go on to the next target. All right, so nothing too cool here. We're actually in Plane of Fear, stopping by Plane of Fear. I'm actually not sure why the guild still does Plane of Fear. This is kind of like the cleanup night. Not really sure why we're going this far back. Probably, I'm not sure. I don't know if we do this all the time or if we just do this every few lockouts or what. But there's still like, you know, some epic pieces drop here, which are usually done on off nights. But I don't know. Maybe we just get together as a guild to do it. There are some good DKP dumps drops in this zone, and you'll see that they actually do happen. Probably the most DKP spent happens in this zone on this raid night, I feel like, which is funny enough. But we got Dracolich here. You know, I was worried about getting feared. Now, well, the drops are 2.0, but the mobs are the same level, right? So I was worried about getting feared, but we are level 60 now. And we used to use bark potions to root ourselves, but apparently nobody seems to do that anymore. I think, you know, our power level is just high enough to where we're just fucking on stuff. And it's just not really necessary. We're pushing this dude everywhere. I'm pretty sure the officers are talking shit on us right now. Because we're pushing I mean, you know. It's kind of a casual... Things are so casual right now that... I mean, you know how it is. I don't know. We're not being very disciplined lately. And, you know, it's easy for me to say, I just got here. I just started raiding again, but, you know, they've been raiding nonstop. And so, you know, it's kind of having an easy time at the moment. So there's no real reason to, you know, be a hard ass about every little detail or anything like that. But let's see what drops here. Now, this belt's pretty good. I actually wanted this belt, too. Why did I get rid of the loot so fast there? Let's take a, whoops. Oh, sorry about that. I don't want to go forwards because it's a 30-second forwards. So let's just pop that back up again. So yeah, the belt's pretty decent. 10 wisdom, 100 hit points, 100 mana, reanimation haste, you know? Now, if a Beastlord could wear that, I'd totally get that. Naturally, Beastlords can't wear it. Shamans can wear it. So it's interesting that a Beastlord can't wear it. There's a belt that drops later on. I was getting confused for a second. There's a belt that drops later on that I want. I would totally wear this as a Beastlord, maybe. The AC is kind of low. But those are the drops for the Dracolich. Yeah, later on there's a belt that drops. So let's see what else we kill here. So we do kill the golems. I skipped the first golem. This is the second one. The first one dropped the Barbarian Shaman Hammer and the Ball of Living Golem or whatever it is. This is Plane of Fear, so I'm not looking to spend too much time on this, like, you know. But I did just want to show here that we had one of the items that no matter what guild you are, no matter what era you're in, this item always goes for quite a bit. I wonder if I could just pause it here. So we got the Amulet of Necropotence, also the slime blood, which is a necromancer epic item, but we got the Amulet of Necropotence, which no matter what guild you're in or what era you're in, really, this is a high sought after item. People are going to blow a ton of DKP on this. They want the illusion skeleton form for whatever reason, as long as you're not like a necromancer. But, you know, oftentimes if you're like a big ogre or troll or anything like that, it's a nice instant shrink. You know, it's got its cosmetic values. You could be a skeleton wizard or a skeleton bard or whatever you want to be. And in certain cases, you can improve your faction, your reputation with some interactions, maybe some vendors, or maybe they'll sell to you if otherwise they won't, stuff like that. So that can be a factor, but mostly it's for looks. It's a nice way to shrink down for the bigger classes and stuff like that. But, you know, it says on there Necro Wizard, Mage, Enchanter, but you can click it from your bag, so anybody can use that. And, yeah, so we did get a Amulet of Necropotence drop. And, like I said, no matter what guild you're in or what era you're really in, this thing is going to go for a lot of DKP. These go for a ton of money. I don't know what they are right now, but like north of like 80K probably on the bazaar. So that in itself is worth, you know, like if this somehow didn't go for a shitload of DKP, you would just pick it up so that you can make 80K on the bazaar real quick. But in reality, it's going to go for a shitload of DKP. So DKP dumps like this, cool in my book, worth going to fear just for some of these drops. All right, so here we are fighting the last golem. And we did a bunch of AoE pulls like everybody does. You know, you group them all up and you get your enchanters and your wizards to stun and mez and nuke and all that fun stuff. Killed those guys. I'm not showing the loot for some reason. Let's see if I show the loot here, which I should. Doesn't look I'm going to. So long story short, another Amulet of Necropotence dropped here. You know, a lot of stuff drops here, so we're probably here. You know, there's multiple pieces to the Necromancer epic that drops here. There's the Child's tier that drops here for the Shaman epic. Possible other stuff for other epics that I can't think of right now, but also the Amulet of Necropotence, you know, really goes for a lot. I'm down to stop by here real quick for a quick killing of these. If we can get like these Necropotence amulets to drop so that we can get some of the DKP off the market, because I'm behind compared to everybody. So I'm down for people to be spend your DKPs right up so that, you know, I can close the gap there a little bit. All right, so here we are killing Kazakthul. He's almost dead, but it doesn't matter. This is all just fear stuff. Like I said, this has been out forever. We probably showed this on a stream in the past, but, you know, everybody's seen this. So we're over here killing him. Getting hit by the AoE, all the fun, good stuff. We'll see what this giant turd drops. As you can see, my pet is dying. Loves to die. I got to figure out the life of the Beastlord. Like I said, I can't wait to get that pet hold so I can just put him out of the... Oh, there's some corpses. Put him out of the raid sometimes in certain cases. But as a Beastlord, your pet's kind of a lot of your damage, you know? I cannot wait to get some AAs going. Because, like, you know... pretty quickly, I'm going to get crits. Like, there's one, you just click it, boom, you got crits now, and then so on and so forth. So here we go. Here we got the belt that I thought I was looking at earlier. Let me go ahead and pause it here. Decent cloak there. Pretty good cloak. We got the bile-edged obsidian choker. Can go on your neck or your waist. Even better. 10 strength, 10 dex, 10 stamina, 100 hit points, 10 AC, 5 all SV, and C invis worn. Super, super damn good. There's still some good shit that drops here in Fear 2.0, I guess it would be. And then we got the Eye of Kazakthul. Anyways, I didn't bid on any of this, although these are some items that, you know, I would really like to get, especially in where my gear is right now. I got some good buyable gear, but I'd like to fill in a couple of these pieces with some nice gear with like 100 hit points and some nice stats and stuff like that. But in due time, I'm still, you know, just getting my feet wet and all that stuff. But I think we do have one more target to check out. Actually, we got a couple of targets now I remember. We got Zandy Clandy. Vaniki, maybe? And then, yeah, as you can see, we're right outside of the Temple of Veeshan. So we pop in there and we take down Dozakar because the rest of Temple of Veeshan's already done. So we just pop in, kill Dozy real quick. Here we go. So hopefully this video is pretty short. You know, just showing some of the targets. Been pretty busy with the raiding and stuff, so I gotta figure out how to manage my schedule now with work and raid and playing and recording and videos and all that kind of stuff. So I think the play is to, like I mentioned previously, is to stream stream some of the raids so that I don't gotta really worry about that too much. And you know, maybe that'll get me streaming a bit because I want to stream. It's just one of those things. I don't know how y'all do it out there. Now I understand how, like Kazakthul and Slayheim, etc. I don't want to start naming people like Cynical and whatever. I just said that and then I go naming people. We got the street sweeper coming by. Sorry about that. But I understand how it's easier in the sense of it gets rid of any sort of editing that you might need. And then you have chat going, and as hard as it could be to stay up on chat, if you have like a lot of chat going on, and if you're busy in game, how it could be hard to micromanage that. That actually is a bonus, and I'll explain. So it can be a bonus because, sometimes it's hard to come up with some stuff to talk about. Sometimes it could be hard to come up with some stuff to talk about. So when you have the chat there to, engaging, asking questions, just talking in general, you can kind of go off of that, talk to them and answer questions or take suggestions, stuff like that live. And, that could really carry the stream if you would. So in a sense, it's easier. And then the whole editing thing, you don't have to edit anything. Not that like me or a lot of people are heavily editing videos, but you do maybe want to throw on a front, throw on a back, cut some of the downtime out. Maybe you said something you shouldn't have, or whatever the case is. The street sweeper came by, whatever, you want to get that stuff out of the video or something like that. That all takes time and effort, and we're already trying to manage our time to begin with. So, anyways, we just downed them. Just down the twins. Zandy Vlandy. See what we got here. Pretty good. We got a Cowl of Mortality. Not bad. And First Brood Talisman. Sight. These targets are, pretty easy. They go down pretty easy. We have a lot of people with us. You don't really need that many to take these guys down. So, you know, pretty okay stuff. The cow's pretty nice. All right, so we killed a couple of little name dudes here, and we're going to kill a Dozakar. So we're just going to end it here. Nice and short. He's just a little boy. Nice and short little video. Might do, like I said, might do another one or two of these to end the streaming topic. But for me, I don't know. There's just something to it, to committing to sitting in one spot for, you know, 3 or 4 hours doing a stream. So hats off to you guys for being able to do that. It gives me some sort of anxiety or something. I'm not even sure. It's fine. I've done it, and I enjoy it while doing it. It's kind of like jumping in a cold pool. You know, you don't want to jump in. You don't want to jump in, and then you finally jump into the cold pool, and then you're like, "Oh, this is fun. We're having fun." You know, that's kind of like how it is for me when it comes to streaming. It's tough to turn it on, but once you turn it on, you're just like, all right, this is great. Anyways, like I said in the beginning, probably another 1 or 2 videos like this, just showing off the different targets that we're doing right now. We'll do some more of these when Luckland comes out. We'll probably be streaming them at that point. You know, as long as I've jumped in the pool by then. But trying to get together with Sindrith and the boys this weekend, so hopefully we'll have a boys video coming out. Not sure what characters we'll play, never really are sure until we just get on and figure it out and do it. So hopefully a boys video coming up soon. And other than that, I'm really kind of focusing on Rexar here, the Beastlord. What am I doing? I'm kind of stuck there. Oh, he's dead. I was like bending over. But, do I show the loot? But yeah, just need to focus on AAs on this guy because there's a lot that I need. And honestly, I want every... oh yeah, so I forget what this is called, but we're doing the thing where you kill all these little dudes and they drop a bunch of different tiers for different quests. I forget what that's called, but that's what we're doing right here. And then Dozakar was like the last one we killed. But different tiers for different classes and stuff like that. But yeah, so in one of these videos I'll take a look at my AAs. But man, Beastlord's like everything is good. Outside of the very first tab where it's stats and stuff like that, and like, you know, increased breath and increased, or you eat less and you breathe longer and that kind of shit. Besides those things, pretty much everything is like so good. Like everything is good. Whereas, you know, like on the Necromancer, like I've been talking about, there's so much stuff on the Necromancer where it's like, do I really need that though? Like, how do I feel about grinding out like tons and tons of AAs to like make my nukes hit a little harder or whatever it may be when I don't even really nuke that much to begin with? And yeah, situationally, you know, you might be doing it, but it's not like your bread and butter. Whereas when we go forward, and I will show like the Beastlords, and it's not just the Beastlord, it's like a lot, like SKs, probably Paladins, a lot of these hybrids and stuff, like all of the AAs are so good, and melee AAs are good. I'm beating a dead horse here when I talk about AAs, but we'll go over it sometime and just take a look at how good they are and how each of them can apply to just playing the character, grouping, rating, whatever you're doing. But let's go ahead and end it there. You know, just rating. I got to get to a raid tonight, so I got to finish up this video anyways. Look forward to a group of the boys. Hopefully that happens. Other than that, I will see you in the next video.